My beloved brothers and sisters, in my first sermon, I would like to address two important topics. One that is related directly to our community and to the well-being of our community. Unfortunately, this has been happening more frequently lately, where a man, while furious, while angry, while losing control of what he needs to do and when he needs to perform, he would take on the life of his wife and himself, causing a big tragedy in the community, taking the life of an innocent person, a wife, and then committing suicide. This is, my dear brothers and sisters, very unfortunate, very saddening situation to see a young man from our own community, from this great community, resorting to violence to solve a problem. Violence has never been the right means for solving problems, my dear brothers and sisters. Never, ever. I would like to draw some lessons here, my dear brothers and sisters. The first lesson, we have so many ahadith in our religion and our tradition that once you are provoked, you need to control your ghadab, your anger. The Prophet ﷺ says, لَيْسَ الْقَوِيُّ بِالصَّرْعَةِ وَلَكِنَّ الْقَوِيُّ هُوَ الَّذِي يُمْسِكُ نَفْسَهُ عِنْدَ الْغَضَبِ. A true strong man is not the one who can flex his muscles and he is physically powerful. No, that's not the definition of a strong man. He says the true definition of strong man is the one who can control his temper when he is provoked. The Imam Ali alayhi salam says, الغضب ضرب من الجنون وإن صاحبه يندم فإن لم يندم فجنونه مستحكم. Imam Ali alayhi salam says, ghadab and anger, it's a form of insanity. It's a form of insanity. The human being becomes insane temporarily at the time of anger. And usually he regrets that. You know, when we always go through that anger, we all experience that. We regret it afterward. Why? Because that's a sign that this is not a normal phase in your life. When you are so angry, you cannot make the right decision. And sometimes my anger would lead me to committing a crime like killing an innocent person. So that's one thing, my dear brothers and sisters, that we need to keep in mind. Not to let anger take over us. Not to let anger make us take or make the wrong decision in our life. Especially a decision like this that can bring regret forever. Killing an innocent person, killing myself in a moment of anger. That's one thing. The other thing, my dear brothers and sisters, that's something that I always struggle with. And I want you to take this lesson, and I want you to take this message to our entire community. Many members of our community maintain gun at home. Why is that? Is there any logical explanation for maintaining gun at our homes? Trust me, my dear brothers and sisters, guns have never been a means of protection at all. Indeed, gun at home is a source of provocation. Sometimes I get provoked What do? I take my gun and I shoot someone innocent. It happened this week. It happened a year ago when a young man took on the life of another young man and while playing basketball. He shoots him. And it happens once in a while. Why? Because people have easy access to weapons. That's a dangerous thing. I appeal to you, my dear brothers and sisters, if you have gun or any type of weapon at home, remove it. It will not protect you. It will never protect you. It will cause your demise sometimes. If you have gun at home, throw it away. Give it away. Get rid of it. If you know a friend, a brother, a cousin, you know, who maintains weapon at home, if you really love them, if you really care about them, go tell them to get rid of that weapon. Weapon has never been a mean for protection. People get provoked, they get angry. Unfortunately, we live in a country where access to weapon is so easy, weapon is so accessible. In a moment of anger, in a moment of losing temper, a person would take gun at home and he would shoot a wife or a son or a brother, and then they would regret. But regret comes at a very late time, where there is no chance to repair things. So that's a very important message, my dear brothers and sisters, that I send to the community. Ya Jama'ah fi sabilillah, for God's sake, if you have gun at home, remove it. If you know a brother, a friend who has gun at home, tell them, ask them, force them to remove it. I know some of you are parents and some of your young kids maintain gun at home. Please, today when you go home, ask your son to remove that gun and throw it away and stay away from it. Never ever that will be a mean for protection. And thirdly, my dear brothers and sisters, the issue of domestic violence. This has been a rampant disease in our community that we need to be very careful. Islam is Deen al-Rahmah, the religion of mercy. The Prophet of Islam says, "Ma akram al-mar'ata illa kareem wa ma ahanaha illa la'im." This is what our Holy Prophet says. Only honorable man would honor women. Only low and petty man would get involved in domestic violence. The Prophet ﷺ says, إِنِّي لَأَعْجَبُ لِأَحَدِكُمْ كَيْفَ يَضْرِبُ إِمْرَأَتَهُ وَهُوَ أَوْلَى بِالضَّرْبِ مِنْهَا. He says, there are men who dare to beat their wives while indeed they deserve beating. So, my dear brothers and sisters, we Muslims also need to spread the proper Islamic education in our community. We are always accused that we Muslims, we take these crimes lightly. We have a practice in our old countries that they call honor killing. Honor killing is not an Islamic tradition, has nothing to do with Islam. Islam never condones honor killing. These are tribal, backward, absurd traditions that we need to renounce, we need to denounce, and we need to condemn. We should not tolerate domestic violence in our community, my dear brothers and sisters. We should not consider domestic violence as a normal procedure, a normal practice in our community. Haram. It's haram. There are people. I received a call a few years ago from Oakwood Hospital. A man who beat his wife almost to death. She had a few broken ribs. And when they asked the husband, why did he beat her? Because he was gambling. So he comes home and drunk. When his wife objected to his behavior, he beat her almost to death. So he beat her. The social worker in Oakwood Hospital called me. She says, Imam, this guy, we're asking him why you did this. He says to me, he tells the social worker that our Quran permits men to hit women. So she says, can you talk to him? So I take the phone and I talk to him and I say, why do you do this? He says, well, you claim you're an Imam. If you're an Imam, you should know that Islam permits men to beat their wives. I said, really? So you're talking about the Quran? Do you read the Quran? The Quran allows you to go and gamble. The Quran that you're citing allows you to go and drink. When it comes to drinking, gambling, it's okay for you. But then when it comes to beating your wife, you cite the Quran. This is the most conspicuous distortion of faith, my dear brothers and sisters. This is a big insult to our religion. And Islam never, ever, the Quran never, ever permitted men. That's a misconception. That's a big misconception that exists in the mind of many people, that Islam permits domestic violence, beating wife. Who said that? That's not true. This ayah, inshallah, one day we will interpret this ayah properly. It does not speak about domestic violence. It does not allow men to beat their wives. No man has the right to beat his wife. No man at all. And Islam forbids that.